he helped me finally make money with music. At the time, he was managing John Legend, and early on I said, John, I need to work with you, and I guess I wasn't cool enough to pop, and he was very neo-soul at the time, which I respect, but I couldn't quite be that. So after Big Girls Don't Cry, I asked, can you work with me? And no. And after an hour a boy, finally he warmed up to me. And so we started writing some songs. And one day he walked into my studio and said, Toby, I'm so in love. I want to write a love song today. And he sat on the piano and he said, all of me, that's all of you. And that's all I have, Toby. What should we do? I've got this for a while. I don't know what to do next. And then I thought of my wife, who I love very much, and her curves and her edges, and all your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. And then he said, I want to get back in the piano. And so we were like trading places back and forth. And in a very short time, the song had written itself. Like, that's the thing with some songs, you don't know how it happens. And like an hour later, you have a song, and it just felt right.
Obi, I'm telling you, what you have accomplished in your life, your career, is just nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, your body of work speaks for itself. And our show is all about dreams. Yeah. And you mentioned when you moved to New York and you took that shot. I'd love to hear that story about how you started following your dreams.
Well, it was the year 2000, end of 2000. I had a lot of dreams. I had very little money and moved to New York City and put little flyers on the traffic signs saying, I'm a European songwriter. Do you want to work with me? And I found my first singer that way. It was Shanta Williams. She was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I went to open mics, and with this first artist, actually, I recorded a bunch of songs, and an attorney then opened the doors to record labels. So I went to the record label, said, I have an album, I have an incredible new singer, and we went to a bunch of labels, and I got 100% rejection. Well, there, of course. But you keep going. So
Exactly.
One thing led to another. 3 years later, I was pretty broke, living on instant soup and a bagel a day.
Sure.
Brutal, but somewhere in that time, I got the chance to work with an artist who just left a girl group, the Wild Orchid.
Okay.
And her name was Fergie.
Wow. There you go.
And at the time, she was not known. But we wrote a song. She was in tears at the time. And we wrote a song about her still loving the boyfriend she had broken up with. Big Girls Don't Cry. And a couple of years later, like 6 years later, the song came out.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, that's one thing. Things always take longer than you think.
Sure.
It takes forever. Like that song, for years and years and years, people said it's a nice song, but that was it. So you just gotta keep, if you believe in a song, keep working on it, keep playing it to everybody. So at some point after she had done 2 albums with the Black Eyed Peas, it was finally Fergie's time to shine, and her album, my song almost didn't make it on her record.
Wow.
But then last minute I heard it's actually on the record. I was like, yay.
Is it possible?
Then it wasn't the first, not the second, the third single. It was the 4th single.
Oh, wow.
And her biggest song. And that put me on the map. Finally, the world knew me by a song.
That's amazing.
And from there on, I could go and try and work with Beyoncé, which after a long time of hustling, finally I got to work with Beyoncé. And we recorded one song that I had written with BC Jean, If I Were a Boy.
Sure.
And all went really fast. Then soon I heard it was going to be her first single. And as opposed to Big Girls Don't Cry, that took a long time to get to number 1, that one started at number 1 and could only go down from there.
I love that attitude. That's great.
It was number 1 in like, I don't know, 20, 30 countries. So it was insane. Like just the magnitude. If you have an American number 1 hit, it's insane.
Oh, I'm sure. And tell me, just how do you feel as an artist, somebody who came to take this almost risk to follow your dream, and then you go from the instant soup, and now you have number 1 in the world, in America? That has to feel so amazing to you.
Well, if any of you have these moments that finally you have accomplished something great, enjoy it, because I did not. I was just like, next song, bigger artists, I need to do this, I need to work 10 times as hard. It was a relentless time of like 180 songs a year and 2-3 sessions a day, and constant, like half the day is writing and then half the day promoting myself, trying to get into different rooms with whoever I could. For a long time, it was until 2015 when I finally pulled the brakes and said I need to be a human being. That was a year around 2013, 15. All of Me that I had written with John Legend was #1 in the charts. I was in the studio with Madonna 5 weeks. At the same time, I was doing Leona Lewis's album, and everything. I was just starting to dream of being a human being again, and like just having no plans. I looked at the calendar. The next 4 months were booked. That was my dream to not work.
You went from wanting to work to not working, and that's it. Absolutely.
I had climbed Mount Everest 3 times now, like 3 worldwide hits.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing Madonna's album, so what more could I do? So I felt, okay, let's now pull the brakes and say I'm not writing songs anymore. And did some house renovations, spent time with my daughter. I have 2 daughters, and it was good to be a dad.
Yes.
And eventually I started a film as well, so I hope hopefully next year at Sundance I'll be here for the film.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait. I mean, was that your first experience in being in the film?
I'm not really a filmmaker, but it's a story that I felt needed to be told.
Okay.
You all know Jane Goodall, right?
Sure, yeah.
Studying chimpanzees. You know Diane Fossey studying mountain gorillas. Nobody knows Birute Galdikas studying the orangutans. So I'm telling Birute Galdikas' story. She was a household name in the 70s, 80s, and it's the forgotten icon. Like 52 years in the jungle now, studying orangutans and safeguarding their habitat.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's a big film, and knock on something.
Well, I would here if you weren't.
Hopefully the year or 2 we'll be at Sundance premiering that film.
I'm sure you would say that.
Right.
It's amazing.
But also we started, like, after that I was a judge on German Idol, which was a blast.
Sure.
I loved the cameras. It was like, German Idol is like American Idol, but it's still a big deal in Germany.
That's great, sure.
Saturday night, prime time.
Oh, wow,
2
okay.
3-hour show.
That's great.
The whole country watches.
Everybody's lined up. Hey, you probably loved it. You had to. I mean,
I had a blast. It was so much fun. And that's where I realized some of these young contestants sang my old songs.
Sure.
Wanted to hear the stories. So that led me to doing the Piano Diaries project, where I'm passing the torch with my old hit songs to new talent, recording them very sparse with just a piano vocal, little orchestration.
Sure.
And we released the first batch of 8 songs in July, Piano Diaries.
That's
you
great.
have it on Spotify or wherever you get your music. And then I started also performing those, which we did today.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely.
What moved me, I must say, is that you are a proud father with your 15-year-old daughter who wrote a song when she was 13 to sing that song as well as other songs that you wrote. Both your lyrics move me as well as your passion. With you being proud of your daughter and you guys working together. That's got to be a dream come true.
It's actually just now that I'm stepping in front of like on a stage, because I was always behind the scene in studios.
Sure.
It feels good, like, how do you say, like taking ownership of these songs that belong to Beyoncé, belong to Madonna, and belong to John. They're my songs too.
You're perfect on stage. I was enjoying you. You're very alive. You're very present. You're very
Absolutely.
It's like I feel like 15 again.
Toby, you belong in front of the camera. You can tell. Literally, you had the room. That's it. Like, every word you were going to say, you're a great storyteller. You have the charisma, and you also have the pedigree to do it. And it's so good that you're there now saying, you know what, these are my songs too, because they are. I love that you're in that position to do that. It's fantastic, and you deserve it. It's really fantastic. Now, for our listeners, you said we could find this on Spotify, anywhere they get their music. You also now have a podcast coming. You do so much. I'd love to hear more about that.
So it was so funny. The last few months we were in London a lot.
Yes.
And London was so excited about my project, they got me to perform at the Palladium. It was a sold out 2,500 people thing where I got 20 minutes to tell the stories, just like now.
Sure.
It was like a podcast with great artists performing for the songs.
Sure.
And then from there on in London, I did maybe 12 shows.
Oh, wow.
Different things. And then at some point, one guy walked up to me and said, "Toby, you should have a podcast." I was like, "Really? Do you want to do it?" And so, then they came to LA, and we already filmed 30 episodes. It's weekly, and it's called Songs You Know and the Stories You Don't. So Songs You Know with Toby Gad.
That's great.
And we started from zero, like with 0 followers on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all these different platforms. Now we are at 6,000.
Hey, all right.
Organic, no promotion. And I reached out to my friends at first. So we had Victoria Justice, we had Josh Groban, who I'm working with at the moment. And John Shanks, who's become part of Bon Jovi and did the Eddie Van Halen.
Sure.
And just now, this week's episode is Justin Tranter, who wrote Good Luck Babe, which is 6 times Grammy nominated. So anyone who's written hit songs, I want to have them up.
Have on your podcast.
No, man. I have a question on that. So you say songs you know, but stories you don't?
Yes,
So it's the story behind the song, how they wrote the song?
Yeah.
How you mentioned earlier.
exactly. I want to know the stories behind the songs of all these hit songs.
Yeah.
We had Lauren Christie 2 weeks ago. Her episode now is at 70,000 views. I don't know why she's going so viral, but people love her.
That's awesome. Maybe because they know the story behind it.
Well, she did all the Avril Lavigne stuff. She did some Dua Lipa stuff, and she also did the Tonight I'm. I don't know if this is censored.
Are you okay? No, you're all right. Go
Clip it out.
But not a podcast is fine.
We had a good talk about, because she wanted to have it be Tonight I'm Loving You.
Yes.
And all the guys in the room was, no. So they released 2 versions.
That's great. That's what it does. I know. I love
That
that.
was the number 1 Enrique.
Yeah.
Lauren Christie, she also was an artist herself a long time ago. So that was one of, so far, the most successful podcast of our humble beginnings.
That's amazing. I love that. And the story is fantastic. Now, what I love, Toby, is that you are always evolving, it seems like. Now you're out there, you have the podcast, you have a film, and you're also helping the next generation of musicians and artists come up. How does it feel now to have had that body of work and also now pass the torch to the next generation?
I feel like I forgot about all this work until I was the judge on German Idol. And all these contestants were singing my songs. I thought no one cares about them anymore.
No.
So that was really the waking up moment where I thought, oh, and they want to hear the stories too. Okay, I'll tell the stories.
You're an excellent story. You know, really, that captivated me just as much as the songs
Oh,
themselves.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Toby, really, you are a fantastic individual. You are inspiring. We're going to have links to all your work below, if you could allow us to, on our Spotify, iHeartRadio, of course, on YouTube. Awesome. Toby, any last words of advice? You gave so much sage advice throughout this conversation you would give to listeners that are trying to follow their dreams.
Yeah. Always give your best and never expect anything. And to me, like the definition of genius is you do something very, very simple. So simple that everyone can do it, but you're doing it for the first time, and then everyone goes like, why didn't I do it? And that's a hit song. And that's, if you can do that, then you win.
Toby, thank you so much for coming on. You are really, truly an inspiration. Again, coming to you guys, Sundance Day 4. This is what it's all about. You come to festivals like this to be inspired by people like you, Toby. Thank you. You are just an inspiration. Thank you so much.
so much.
Thank you, everybody.